Hey YouTube. So I decided to flip the phone around, and yes, I've been crying a lot all morning. Um, as of February 9th, we could have gone to the courthouse, made an appearance, but Hugo is under so much stress, under so much pressure. There's just so much chaos. It's been so much since my brain bleed, since my cancer. During my cancer, there was a lot going on with the oil and sands in Alberta. I know my hair is funky, guys. Um, and Hugo was working, trying to work, take care of me while I was going through my cancer, take care of Anna, and all her medical needs, plus me and my depression. I have MMD, which is massive depression. It's a massive, like, depression. Like, I don't know how, it's just called a massive depression. And complex PTSD. And then I had the cancer. And he had 4 layoffs during that, and we kept trying to take care of everything. And I went through radiation, and I had 2 surgeries, and Hugo was trying to uphold everything, and everything that I do, and everything kind of fell apart. There, we started recovering, and then I got hit with a brain bleed. And 3 months after my brain bleed, everything was just crazy. I just woke up and there was this absolute nightmare. Everybody's fighting, and I'm just trying to make sense of what just even happened. I mean, I survived this brain bleed, and it was horrible pain, and it was not fun to go through. And I had just had radiation, and COVID was hitting, and everything. We're like, what the heck? I was just so much stress in the beginning of it. It was like 2019 or 20 or something, I don't know. And it was August 10th. First, I had a thunderclap headache, and then I had this brain bleed. And since the brain bleed, the past 3 years, it's been tremendous stress. Hugo quit drinking January 1st, 3 years ago. Just cold turkey. And it was really hell on our family. Really put us through a lot. And then we tried to fight for him to have EDMR treatments paid for up front through his benefits. And they kept denying to do that, but they'll go and let me have a massage and do direct billing. And he needed EDMR, and we couldn't afford it. And we were like, can we do direct billing so he can still get the EDMR, and then we can figure things out in between all that time. And they kept refusing, and then they kept saying, well, prove he's mentally ill. The guy has lost his father when he was 2. His mom died when he was 18, and he had to watch her die through a slow, horrible illness called sarcoidosis. And, lost her when he was 18, and of course she didn't have much for him. He bought himself a car at the time, and then he ended up having a family and gave up his car and worked and stuff. And then he had, like the 3 kids, and it didn't work out with him and his ex. They were, heading in wrong directions. She was drinking a lot and wanting to party, and he didn't want to go in that direction. And he still was drinking, and he was trying to, he wasn't heavy all the time, but he was starting to get into drinking. And then it's a lot of stress. We lost our son on Father's Day. June 21st was when he was taken off life support. And they declared him brain dead on Father's Day. All his brain was completely black, just a tiny spot by the cerebellum maybe, but everything was black. No function whatsoever. And Caleb, he was born in 2010, so it was a fair time ago that we lost him, but doesn't change anything because, you know, the whole trust, a lot of our diversities of our relationship started changing when I wrote this list down, and I kept saying, I think, you know, Caleb's sick. I really do. I think it's his heart. I think something's going on. And I think he's sick. I think he has a cold or something. And the doctor and convinced Hugo that I was being a hypochondriac. And I wrote down all the symptoms, told the doctor, plus I have a daughter on life support, medical. And I worked for Alberta Health Services before. So I have medical knowledge. And I was ignored. And my son had a viral pneumonia, and yes, he had medical complex needs. But it doesn't ignore that his symptoms were there and that I recognized them, but they were ignored. And since then, me and Hugo kind of been spiraling in our relationship, and it's been difficult for him to deal with. So he went into this drill sergeant mode, and this year was diagnosed with ADHD, adult onset, untreated, and complex PTSD, the angry stages of them, both. I did cut my hair in all of this situation, but it was mostly, you know, I kept frustration, and my hair is just brittle from the radiation. It was just brittle. It was just horrible. Didn't look like my hair anymore. And I didn't feel like myself anymore. And everything that I woke up from, I had been growing up from childhood abuse, and I survived through that. Both my parents had addictions. My dad was drinking and smoking heavy. My mom smoking heavy. BLTs. Oh, God. Have destroyed our lives. Destroyed a lot of me and a lot of my life. You learn to push people away because of it. You learn that you just cannot have that normalcy because you know that that person needs help, and nobody is going to be there for that person. So you try all your life because you know that there's a reason for that problem, and we have to find out why, and we have to try to figure out how it all started so we can resolve it. And everybody says don't ever go back on the past, but when you do go back on the past, you do start revealing a lot of things, things that, you know, we should learn to teach people, even our children, because depression's a high rise in young adults, as well as ourselves. And as adults are on the rise, like especially in Alberta, the depression rates are very high. It's been just really hard, but sometimes when you look back on everything and you start seeing the patterns of everything, and you look at the life that you've always wanted or what you've worked for, people will disregard me in the past 3 years and say this is all I've been, but never looked at me in the past 15 years and said this is what this mother's been, and this is what she's been through, and this is how strong she's been. She's been an advocate so her daughter could have education and rights to education through Skype. She's been an advocate so her daughter could have rights to oxygen. Google search Anna Lohan or Lisa Lohan. I've advocated for children with ADHD, as that's a high number of children to be looked at differently than just this is it. Find out what their triggers are. Learn to work with them. And learn to see how smart and intelligent these children are. They're just bored in school. They're extremely bored. Their brains are bored. I deal with a wide variety of things from mental health. My parents both had addictions. Both of them struggled and battled to fight with it for years. I watched my parents lose their truck and their home. And that was one of my biggest fears, was to be just like my parents. And it just seems like I followed the same pattern no matter how hard I wanted to get out of that pattern. And then when my brain bleed hit, it just everything fell apart, and everybody was like, all you do is just complain and you complain and you complain. Yes, because we're losing the house. Our bills are high. The power bill was up to over $7,000 at one point, and it took me a lot to pay it down. And I had to fight the power company to help me keep my daughter's power on. And AppCore was amazing with working with me on doing that. But I mean, they weren't happy, but I mean, they did. And I got it paid down, and it was so hard. And yes, we got a horse before around all this time. And, you know, when Hugo was working and things were good and life was okay and we had all these plans, and we were like, yeah, we're going to have this big, you know, amazing Canadian border collie business, you know, and be able to educate people and learn agility and, you know, learn to make sure that they go to the right families and all this stuff, and educate people on the diversity of them, how intelligent they are and can be, and how, you know, there's so many things that can be good in life. And Hugo and I have these great big hearts, and we're like, okay, yeah, we'll go up with you guys. We'll go up with you guys. We'll go up with you guys. And everything starts going offline and off track. And all these people want a part of our lives. And we're just trying to figure it all out. And we're trying to figure out who or how we can trust. And so far, we railroad tracked. We had people do a fundraiser for us, this big fundraiser. And Hugo had it investigated, and there was lots of money raised, and we were given $1,600 out of this whole big fundraiser. And they're like, that's all you guys got, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it was, I don't know, but according to the police that did that, they said there was a fair amount of money in there. But because it was under the other person's name who, you know, did the fundraiser for my daughter, there's really nothing we could have done about it, and they probably knew that. And anyways, it was a long story. And then we tried to do fundraisers here and there. We got a van, and we were able to raise $6,000, and we were able to get a van for Anna. And we're able to get a few things here and there, so medical supplies and things like that. But the medical bills and trying to do applications and having no income myself, I was denied. The Canadian CPP that I've actually worked for through Alberta Health Services, I got denied. And I'm PTSD. Now I'm even more than PTSD. I'm complex PTSD. And everyone's like, go to therapy, get help. And I do go to therapy. I've been in group therapies. I've been on medications. I see a psychiatrist, you know. He's even got a funny name, Dr. Rosie. What I need to do is turn my life around, and I've been trying to do that with Hugo. My dad passed away, and of course, because of their addictions, they don't have anything, right? And you help them, and he wasn't able to leave much, and then I'm taking on my mom. And then she gets caught up on these online romance scams. It's been heavy. Internationals, they tell you, the police tell you to go to the RCMP tell you to go to the police say go to the internationals, and RCMP say go to the internationals say go to the RCMP, and it starts all over again, and nobody wants to help get this under control, that a senior is being taken advantage of over on this online romance scam that is destroying your family on top of it. While you're trying to get this woman help, and you can't get her help because you don't have the funds, and because the government says, well, if you sign all your rights of power of attorney, then we'll take over her, everything of her, and then you have no say in her care. So when you're trying to get your family member help, it's impossible. Everybody has targeted me and says, oh, Lisa, you know, she's got cannabis use and blah, 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 and so this is it. That's her problem. Past 3 years. But nobody took a look at the past 15 years in total, or before the 15 years, or my childhood trauma, or the grief, or the amount of loss I endured throughout my younger times of my life. to now, as a mother who lost her son, and my daughter has spinal muscular atrophy type 1. Then you get hit with this thyroid cancer, and everybody says, oh, it's okay. You know, it's not a big deal. It's thyroid cancer. And unless it spreads, it's a big deal. And you wake up and you feel your neck. And, oh, something's different here. So they remove your lymph nodes. Some of them. Go through radiation, and your right breast starts swelling up. And then you just at this point feel hugely invaded. And you have to go for this hysterectomy because of this cancer, and because of the risks, and because you have all these fibroids and risks. So then you feel more or less of a moment at this point. And you finally start building yourself back up and accepting yourself and who you are. And you're like, you know what? It's just, I've had my children, and I've been fortunate regardless that I've been able to carry my children and have them and have a family. Because there are a lot of people that don't even get that opportunity. And you work hard to try to run for everything that your daughter needs, who's on life support. Your 2 other children at home who have, I need this, school needs that tomorrow, can you sign there? Applications here, applications there, why can't we get this one in, why can't we get that approved, we need this done. He goes at work, he's gone for 21 days, I can't get these done until I get a signature, and he's not going to be home. So it delays paperwork, then we get depressed and we get frustrated because the paperwork adds up, and I get stressed out, then I got more paperwork and more errands and more supplies and medications, and we got to make sure we're on top of insurance. And thankfully during cancer I had insurance, because each of my shot was $2,000, and normally they don't even really cover the one, and finally they got the one covered, and then they got another one covered. And if they didn't, they said that the cancer has enough foundations to support and help everybody, or not every, for that kind of situation. So I went through all that, and then now I watched my parents, and then I had my own home. My ex and I split up, and we started a rent to own, and that way took over, and I was left with all the repairs and everything in the home, which I took over, the bills, everything, because I didn't really have anywhere else to go at that point. He had his parents, and it was just chaos after that. And I literally met Hugo on my birthday in 2007 on February 16th. And a year later, we had Anna. And there was so much between him and I that we could understand, between his relationship, what he was going through, what I had been through. And we were happy together at that time. It seemed, and then Anna, at 4 months, May 22nd, 2008, was diagnosed with spinal muscular atrophy type 1, and we moved and flipped our lives completely inside out to be with Anna and give her the medical team and supports that she could need, and that she would need and whatnot. I rented my home out, and the rent here was double what we paid there. I paid $700, And then when we moved here, I had to pay $1,400 for rent, and my bills were almost triple from what they were at back home. And I was trying to pay for 2 places, and then finally somebody was renting, and we started renting. Things were good. And then somebody else started taking over the rent, and they weren't paying the rent, and I had to give my home up. And I started losing. It was around the same time we lost Caleb. And then around the same time I got denied my CPP got dragged on so long that they said that I no longer qualified because I was out of work for 4 years, but they dragged my applications on for almost 2 years. Over 2 years for sure. It was a long process. Social workers, me, everybody running to fill these forms and get all these applications done adequately, and then calling constantly and constantly getting the response, oh, well, we'll get back to you soon. Your application will be done soon. And it never stopped. And I kept calling, and there was no response. And finally, when they responded, it was 4 days after my application expired from me being out of work for 4 years. So I tried to go back to school. I went and I took paralegal. It was a 15-month crammed course. And I made 6 months of it because there was just so many things happening in my family at that time. My son had passed away. Then my son's classmate had an asthma attack in front of the class, and she passed away in front of him. He witnessed his stepmom having a miscarriage, and I'm also asthmatic. I've been asthmatic my whole life, and so he had a breakdown. And then I started having issues with carpal tunnel. You can see the scars, I don't know, in my hands, which was the sign, I guess, the start of thyroid disease. I have scars, I don't know. You can see the one in this hand or not. But that was the starting sign. My hands started stiffening. I couldn't move my fingers. My hands were dropping my laptop. I broke my laptop. We tried to have the motherboard repaired, and no, the motherboard, I crashed my whole system because I couldn't even hang on to glasses. I would go to get a glass of water and go to drink water and grab the glass, and the glass would slip right through my hand and fall and hit the ground. And you have to type 100 words per minute, and I couldn't get my hands to work. Typing, and I was typing, and I kept stiffening, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. So anyways, I had the surgeries, and then by the time I had surgery, I think on my left hand, my dad was staying with us, my stepdad. And I told my mom to bring him down because he sounded really sick and needed medical attention here, not there. And shortly after we got him here, we rushed him to the hospital, and he had gone septic because his large intestine had gone, part of a portion of it went gangrene, and lost a portion of his large intestine, and they said he would never make it through the surgery, and he did. He ended up with an ostomy bag. So I always had to help him with that, and had the surgery on my hand and taking care of his medical care. And then when Hugo was coming from work from up north, 5 hours away, he'd come and help with my dad's medical care. It would help alleviate some of the stress. You know, I had this baby, this 2-year-old little girl, and Anna, and my son, and my mom, and my dad, all in this little bungalow. 1 bathroom. It's a good thing my dad had the ostomy bag. Whew. I'm kidding, guys. I mean, somewhere at some point. And I know I look like absolute crap. Not much I can do about my hair at the moment. So I took care of him, and then he was doing okay, and then he started having serious back pains, and then he went in, and they gave him Dilaudid. He's COPD. the Dilaudid, the risks of it is they can shut your lungs off like that. And it's pretty much exactly what happened. He stood up and Christmas Day, he was throwing up, and Boxing Day, he was gone. He stood up, and my kids were in the living room, and his head just sagged in my hand, and he tried to say something, and my son took my daughter, my youngest, out of the room, and the home care nurse covered Anna in front of her. And then shortly after, we needed to move because our landlord, we let us stay there for 7 years through our struggles, everything. And his son needed it to go to college, in which we understood, but it was difficult, let go of a home that we all really enjoyed and liked. And then close to the hospital. And then we moved further away, and now we're in an area where we really enjoy because it's easy access to where we need to go to the hospital, or easy routes for all the hospital routes. It's just sometimes the city just never keeps our roads clean enough for when we need to go to the hospital with Anna. And her head's close to the ramp, and we have to put her one way, the length way. We're trying to figure out better ways to put her in the van and the ramp, so we turn her the other way, but still she's going lengthway from one way to the other, and the head's close to the door. And somebody was in a school zone and speeding behind us, got angry at us, come out from the left side and started trying to sideswipe us and hitting us from the side. And he goes like, Lisa, get his license plate. And we didn't have registration at the time. And I was trying to take the picture of his get the thing of his thing, and I was like, holy shit, that's my partner, But, I mean, it was crazy. And I was like, what the heck is going on even right now? I was like, this can't even be real. And we turned the corner, and the guy stopped his vehicle completely, and we hit him from behind, and there goes our front bumper. And our radio, and our stress, and the fights. And it just escalates and escalates and escalates because Hugo doesn't know what to do anymore. He's just... November, I'm still trying to get over the understanding of all of this situation. All of a sudden I get blamed, and I'm like out on the street, and I'm away from my kids, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And everybody's like, oh, well, it's your behavior, it's this or that. Well, yeah, I'm under a lot of stress because we're losing the house. Our power bill was $7,500. And then our gas bill was like $700 or $600, and then to keep the internet for Anna's schooling, and you know what I mean? We need the internet so she can keep her schooling on, and then I can't get the eye gaze to work. And then I started to try to do this like GoFundMe, and it says like, sorry, there's this error. It's this error. GoFundMe is an error. So I gave up on GoFundMe, and we tried GoFundMes. I don't know how to put it out there and say, look, guys, this is us medical family. Our situation, we've been hit hard, and it's been really, really difficult, like a heavy weight of mud on us, and both of us. And I mean, yes, there's a lot of faults and a lot of things that, could be done on one side to another, but it's been heavy on both sides. Just in taking my mom has been really heavy for Hugo alone, to understand her behaviors and actions, and to understand that what I said is a reality, because his mom baked all the time and made his lunches, and made sure he had breakfast, and always did everything she could for him, put him in activities and all this stuff like that, and she didn't have a whole lot of money, but she would bake for people and everything. And he's like, and then I have my mom on this side, who's a completely different person because of her gambling. And it was heavy. My mom finally, after many years, long struggles, finally decided to go into group therapy and get help. Gambling help, everything. So thankfully, and I'm crossing my fingers. That's a big step, even at her age, to finally say, okay. They say you can't teach a dog old tricks, but I always say if you give up, you never will teach them anything. Sorry, Mom. But your children are your teachers, and we are. And just as our parents are our guidance and our teachers, we learn and we grow together. New developments every day. I'm just going to pause for 1 second. So I'm sorry, just to go at a question. So now, like I said, that's one step. And it's been really hard to express what it's like to be able to say at 40 some years old, going through everything that your parents have gone through, seeing what they've gone through. It's been really hard. And you fight so hard to take a different direction from their life and say, I am not that person. And then you just spiral and everything just goes in this one direction. You have somebody who wants to take you to court because they want this and they feel you owe them traveling costs, and you've got another person who's like arguing for this, and another person who needs, and another person who wants, and applications you got to do here, equipment you got to go get there, and supplies you got to get there, and then later on you get hit with a pandemic with a medical child. Pandemic with a medical child. Oh my gosh, like look at my hair, guys. That's crazy. And trach's starting to go on low supply and back order, and people telling you got to start washing your trachs now. And for your child, I got dry eyes too. They're so raw from crying. Literally. I've been packing, and I have been packing, guys, like literally. It's really kind of like, wow. My son's glass cabinet, Caleb's. I kept all his stuff in there. You move into this home and you have all this great excitement and fulfillment and achievement. And I used a little bit of inheritance I got from my dad. I don't know, it was a few thousand, a couple thousand. We all scrambled all this money together to put this home together for ourselves, or have something that would be efficient for our family and for Anna. I mean, it's a 4-level split, so it's actually kind of difficult some ways. But we didn't have many choices. It was so confusing. My head was so full. I thought maybe a 4-level split would be really good, because then we can give Anna her own room for the family, a whole different area. We can do all these different things, and we could have space, because we didn't have space. We were all crowding, and we were all starting to, we go for walks and we do things, and we've been to West Edmonton Mall. We took his sister there, I think, once or something like that. But we would, we've gone to the zoo. The getting in and out of the house has been difficult, and then we started having all these dogs, and then all of a sudden somebody doesn't pick up and show up to pick up their puppy, and then nobody wants that puppy, and then we get stuck with them, and now we have altogether 9. Lulu was the last one that we've been starting to look for homes, and she was born in August, and she's amazing. She's such a great little spirit, but now she's starting to get a little feist in her, so she's starting to lose some of her social, so we're starting to work on her social skills with her. Alpha adapted to Anna, and we didn't realize that we started getting rid of Alpha, but then we realized he's sitting with her all the time, and she really is adapting herself to him. And Sasha Bear had issues with Chihuahuas, and she's never left my side since we got her. Chelsea We had her 14 years ago. We got her. Brought her home. She's 14 years old, this dog. Been with us through everything. When Kayla passed away, I sat outside and on this garden bed thing, and she'd come sit outside and she'd sit in front of me and she'd push her head underneath my arms. I'd be crying and you got yourself like, and she come through underneath and I just put my head and my body on her, and she would support me that way. So she would just sit with me outside and I would just cry my eyes out, and then Chelsea would just stay there. She was a great support, and she had been there when we brought Hope home. Actually, when Kayla passed away, for 2 weeks before, she kept whimpering and whining and circling. And she would whimper for a little while, and it was like she could sense something was wrong. And when the ambulance came, she settled. When he got picked up. Hugo told me, well, she settled, and when we were just going over everything with the doctors, and then a doctor asked if they could speak to him on the phone, and I was standing there. And he was crying. And I wanted to tell him to just stop for a second, just let me take him and calm him down. But they called a code. The doctor told me at the moment, he's like, I don't think your son is that sick. And when he ended his sentence, he went into a cardiac arrest. And I kept looking at the clock. And then finally, 20 minutes went by, and I kept just saying, breathe. And they ran him past me on this machine there. I don't know. There were so many things and people. And a social worker just standing there with me. And the doctor was on the phone with his dad, and his dad heard everything. And then we got Tegan later on, so we had Chelsea, and she had been that support through, getting our family out for a walk and rehabilitating our lives and just being that mother hen. And when we finally had Hope, she really stuck to Hope and has been literally that child's mother hen. Sorry. And I know we've had opportunities, and we tried to make the best of them. Best of every opportunity that we don't get, or we never get to go and do as a family, or try to think what we are going to do while we're sinking, and we know we're sinking, and how are we going to stay afloat. And I got my certificate of HCA through Paramed and all this stuff, and then after my brain bleed, I've been suffering thunderclap headaches, which put me off work. Each thunderclap headache is a risk. I get them frequently. You have to react quickly. Ativan is what we find so far has been sustaining them. So sometimes if it's starting, if I can catch it before it goes from 0 to 60, or if I start feeling symptoms of it, I can put the medication under my tongue. And if I don't catch it in time, then it's Ativan, and just cross our fingers that everything will be okay. When I started our YouTube channel, I started one in 2009, I believe, and I never had the confidence. I wanted to, but our family always was just going through so much, and everybody's like, you guys should start a YouTube channel, you guys should start a YouTube channel, you guys are so awesome, and you're awesome parents, and blah, blah, blah. And then I was going to try again, and I just lost my own confidence somewhere, and then I finally said, this is it, I'm going to start again. And then just everything was really heavy. And then Hugo's daughter lost her pregnancy, second pregnancy. I believe she was 22 or 23 weeks pregnant. And it hit the family pretty hard. Everybody was, I guess, just angry, not knowing how to take the stress. Hugo kicked me out of the house and just said he just didn't know what to do anymore with everything. Just everything in general. He just was losing his mind in general. His daughter's all the way across Canada, and he can't even be there supportively. And the grandson that was supposed to be born before that, it was COVID, the high fever, COVID, heart. And so his grandson was supposed to be born actually around Father's Day by COVID. And then we went through all of that. And it was hard for Hugo to be all the way here, dealing with what his daughter was going through and not being there to help her cope through it or be supportive through it. Second time around. But this, her baby was 2 days old, I guess. And it's really put our family in a lot of diversities because there's so much on top of all of that, the past history. Being two blended families is not easy. When you've got one wanting traveling costs and you've got another one wanting money but not having the ability to say that yes, they can meet their siblings and be together here, but refused to allow their dad to have access to with them in where we live here, and knowing that we couldn't travel with our daughter, and not giving her the opportunity to meet her siblings or them to meet her and learn about her. I mean, it's understandable in so many other ways. Like, yes, it's across province, all this stuff, and a lot of fears, right? As a mom in both scenarios. But anyways, what's been lost has been lost in that. And now Hugo and I are facing it was February 9th, and we have 60 days to find a home, change everything, figure it out, and we have no income. He was supposed to work on CPP papers. He had benefits coming in, and through the whole process what happened with his granddaughter in November, we paid off a whole bunch of bills, one of them being our power bill. And we wanted to give the girls a good Christmas because at this point we knew we were sliding downhill and we didn't know where we were going to go. So we gave the girls a good Christmas, trying to not let them know any different. But they know from the stress. Obviously, the stress of trying to figure out what we're going to do all the time. And one trying to talk to Hugo, but he never has an answer for me. So then he's angry because he doesn't know what to tell me. It was the first time for him to be a responsible adult too, and it's been tough. And you have one that's got the guidance of that and saying, I know what that downfall feels like and I'm not looking to go there again, but it happened. Hugo we had the mortgage insurance when we moved into the house. They told Hugo he had to be off his Cymbalta for 5 years, which is medication for stress and anti-anxiety. It's a medication for mental health, and he had to be off of it for 5 years. And that's when he was doing good, and things just went really haywire there too. He just got stressed. We had no mortgage insurance. And then right when we moved in, our kitchen flooded and from the dishwasher, and we found out our pipe was backed up all the way to the basement, and our basement flooded. The insurance wouldn't fix that. And then eventually the insurance, like when they knew about the problem, it was like constant like struggle to keep our insurance. And then they're like, you're not going to find insurance from anybody. And eventually our insurance company dumped us. And because I missed a payment during I think it was my cancer or something like that. And I was trying to explain to them I was sick. I'm trying to get all this stuff back, and I've had surgeries, and he doesn't know how to do the banking. And so anyways, we lost the house insurance. I had no insurance. The van registration, because of his child supports, and it just kept going. And now we have less than 60 days. We started YouTube wanting to make it more positive, but I guess this is a journey that is really scary for us right now. But for me as a mom, medical mom, where do you find a home that you can set up the whole PICU in, allow her to keep her dog? I don't know. But anyways, YouTube, there's about 9 dogs that need homes. Well, we're going to keep Sasha. We'll keep Alpha. At least work on doing it. God, I'd love to keep them all and be able to. They all have attachments of personalities to us and great developments of different skills. But nothing went accordingly the way it was supposed to in our life. Little Lulu is amazing. She's like a little Bambi. Very happy. And soon we'll be starting to put things for sale. I've tried to sell things before. I suck at selling things. I've tried to work at home. I lost my Amway just recently. I've tried everything. I've tried to go to school. I've tried to, and it's been so hard because I'm constantly needed at home. Lisa, where's this? Lisa, what is that? Lisa, where's the charts? Lisa, we need this. Lisa. And it's constant demand because I've constantly had the organization and routine for 15 years. Well, the past 3 years, the routine really went off because Hugo didn't know how to do the routine or didn't know what's important. And don't worry about it. And, we'll take care of it tomorrow, and we'll take care of it next week. And we'll do this and we'll pay that. And everything just started spiraling. I have an appointment today with a social worker. Where I go from there, I don't know. I just started doing all those paintings with Anna, hoping that we could maybe use them to do a glow in the dark or glow on through or something fundraiser. Somehow save our home. I don't even know how to set all that stuff up. I tried. I fail at that too. Everything is technology. And I am not good at technology, and I suck. And I tried to print off our appeal to the affidavit for the court appeal, and I couldn't even get that done. We got a new printer, tried to do it on a new printer. I couldn't even get the new printer to connect to 2 phones. And we could have made a court appearance, but Hugo just he didn't know what to do. He's like, go there, I don't have anything prepared. We don't have a lawyer. Not only that, they had been sending people taking pictures with their kids in the front playing in the yard, and neighbors' kids are getting upset that there's this old creepy man taking pictures of them, ruining my daughter's reputation, our reputation, putting stress on our family. Hugo ended up chasing the old pervert, apparently, that happened to be hired by Scotiabank. Chased him. Can you imagine if Hugo would have got a hold of that old guy? He would have been toast. Hugo would have been in jail. And they knew we were here. When Hugo was in the Fort Mac fire, they were supposed to put 4 months of our truck and our mortgage terms at the end of the term of the mortgage. They filled out all the papers, said everything was finalized, everything was good to go. They're like, okay guys, good to go. Everybody had the papers done, everything was on the system, but the guy didn't hit enter. Everything is on there, but he didn't hit enter. So it put us in a default. They come pick up the truck. I think I just had my surgery. You can see the scar. I just had my surgery for my cancer. And his birthday, I remember thinking, this is our birthday. This is how it's going to start. And next is going to be the house. And sure enough, get a notice in the mail. And I'm like, 4 months, how are we 4 months behind on our mortgage? Go and I check with the bank. And the bank is, oh, we made an error. But we were behind 2 months, which wasn't, we already figured it out. We were going to catch up. But then this 4 months just sent us into this whole new shock wave. And it was the 2 months I was kind of behind because of my own trying to explain the online thing to Hugo and all that stuff. And it was complicated. So then they picked up the truck and auctioned it off. And then they're like, oh, well, we're sorry. There's nothing we can do about the truck. And then we tried to work with them on the house. But the fact that there was no insurance and just all the stress and Hugo trying to get an income and then his benefits and then his benefits cut him off. And then we had to fight about that. And by the end of it, you don't get a whole lot to survive on. So $35,000 plus you get, you have already almost an $8,000 power bill, and you already got the next power bill coming up, and then you got your phone bill, and you've got, so $1,000 here, $7,000 there. Then I got kicked out of the house for some reason. Hugo just lost it, and so then I was trying to find hotels. Took me 6 days to get into a woman's shelter anywhere. So there goes funds there, trying to get transportation and food and clothing, and then my mom needed money and shoes, and there goes over $1,000 there, and and then people helping you got to pay for gas, you got to pay for this, and you need that, and you need medication, you don't have insurance. And then Christmas, tried to give everybody a good meal and all that stuff, and trying to figure it all out at the same time and thinking, I don't know what we're going to do. And then at this point, we still don't know what we're going to do. Our relationship right now is currently really rocky. And last night, Hugo finally said, well, he said it for a bit, but I don't know, that family counseling, try to figure out where we go from here. I'm just trying to work on a home for me and the girls at least. It's been really hard on me. Which has been really hard. I wanted to go onto YouTube and be positive. Because everybody says you gotta be positive, Lisa. You gotta be positive. Only good things happen to you when you're positive. And I try to be positive. But how do you be positive when you get slammed with so many things and people telling me all the time, I can never do what you do? And then turn around, majority of people will say I'm crazy. But they'll say I can never do what you do or don't know how you do it. Or it's too much for them. Majority of the time it's too much for them. And it's pretty sad when you have majority of social workers and people say that they don't know how to help us because it's so complex. Tell me about it. I want to say, YouTube has been my one thought, maybe, I guess not just my one thought, it's always been there. If you look back at Lohan spinal muscular atrophy, you'll see her old channel. 2009, her first trach change is on there. It's been a long journey, really long road. So many stories that it's so hard to begin to understand where to start. All I know is that Hugo and I are working on where we go from here. We don't even know at this point. Wants to work on a CPP, but it's when your head is so full, it's just so much stuff in your head. It's so hard. We're trying to get all that stuff sorted out, and neither one of us are good at paperwork either. I mean, I'll do it, but I hate it. And then I get frustrated. So much stress because I want to be doing things with my family too, and medical and all that stuff. And so anyways, I want to say thank you to everybody too as well. I'm going to end it here. We've got lots to do, and say thank you to all our subscribers. I'm actually surprised. It's one thing that's been really amazing is watching our channel grow as it has been. It's given us a lot of confidence in that area. At the same time where we're like, can we do okay on this? So I know my hair is really funky, guys. But again, I'm gonna start cutting it down now because I gotta go help Hugo do some sorting, and we got a lot of stuff to figure out. And I guess we're gonna start by hopefully trying to put our funds together eventually and get storage and start putting stuff in storage, and the rest we're just gonna figure it out. I don't know. I can't even tell anybody right now. Anyways, we'll keep posted. We were gonna give up on the channel, but we will just go as we can because we can only do what we can, and it's one step at a time.
If I woke up without you, I don't know what I would do. I thought I could be single forever till I met you. Usually don't be falling first. You got a way of keeping me coming back to back. I just found out the only reason that you loved me was to get back at your ex-lover. But before you leave, usually I would never even care. Baby, I know she creeping, I feel it in the air. You stay, but your savage love did somebody break your heart. Looking like an angel, but your savage love. When you kiss me, I know you don't give to. I still want that savage love, savage love, savage love. savage love. Did somebody break your heart? Looking like an angel, but you're savage love. When I kiss you, I know you don't give to, but I still want that savage love. Savage love, savage love. You can use me, 'cause I still want that savage love. Savage love. Did somebody break your heart? Looking like an angel, but you're savage love. When you kiss me, I know you don't give to, I still want that savage love. Savage love. Savage love. You could use me.